So I'll explain a few questions and I'll take your attendance after I finish this, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Do not write your roll numbers in the chat box. Don't write your roll numbers in the chat box. I'll call your roll numbers after I explain this, okay? Okay, so yesterday we were here. What do you consider to be your weakness? So again, I will be explaining this to you all. So this is another common question, uh, and this is a very critical question that is asked by the interviewer. So now, when this kind of question is asked, you cannot say that I don't have any weakness, and you also cannot literally and honestly say what are your weaknesses. You have to also play a trick. So you have to tactfully handle this kind of questions. Provide an answer that is not going to harm the growth and development of the organization, or give an answer along with the solution. Okay, so they want to actually know that whether you have any weakness that is going to that is going to be harmful for their company or their organization or the requirement of the position. Then of course, if they feel like, if the interviewer feels like that your weakness might be something that can hamper the requirement of the position and the growth and development of the organization, then definitely you will not be selected. So you have to answer to this, as I had said, that you have to answer to this question very tactfully. So there are two ways, as I had already mentioned. Tell about a weakness that has nothing to do with the growth and development of the organization, that has nothing to do with the requirement of that particular position, or you can tell a weakness along with a solution. So you have to say that this is my problem. Along with that, you can also uh, you need to also provide a solution to that. Okay, so in that way you will be able to answer to this question beautifully. You cannot say that I don't have any weakness. Why? Because we are human beings, and we have a lot of weaknesses, and we are not perfect. So that is why we definitely have weakness. And if you say that you don't have any weakness, then that means you are, you're lying. So the interviewer is not going to believe you. So that is why definitely say that answer to this question, and definitely mention a weakness. Now when you mention weakness, do not just provide a list of weaknesses. Okay, do not just provide too many weaknesses. Do not just tell about a lot of weaknesses. As I had said, you have to tactfully handle this question. So here I have given few examples. So the first one is, I tend to be overly critical of myself. Whenever I complete a project, I can't help but feel that I could have done more, even if my work received a positive response. This often leads me to overwork myself and leaves me feeling burned out. Now, this is something that you consider to be your weakness, that you are too much critical about yourself, and even after you receive good feedback, after you complete a task or a project, yet you are not that satisfied, and yet you feel like that you could have done it more. So this can be something that is beneficial for the organization. It can be a weakness for you because you end up working a lot, you overwork, and so it can be a weakness for you. But for the company, if you overwork, then definitely that's a benefit for them. Okay. Next is I focus too much on details. Now this can be again a weakness for you, because you're a person who will look into the details of each and everything, but it is going to be a benefit. It is going to be beneficial for the organization. Next is my weakness is that I sometimes have trouble saying no to requests and end up taking on more than I can handle. Again, see, this is something that most of us, that most of us uh, you know what happens is that when somebody asks us to do something and we cannot say a no directly, this is a problem with most of us. So we cannot say no to requests, and especially when the other person is like requesting and like telling in a very soft and gentle manner, then you cannot say a no. And most of the people, they cannot say a no and end up doing that activity. So this is another weakness that is a very common one, and of course you can say it, and again it can be at times it can be beneficial for the company, because if your boss says you to do something, and if you know that you should not do that particular thing, or you are doing a lot of work, it's a lot of pressure, but yet because you have this habit you cannot say a no. So in this way you can answer to this question. And you can also tell about other weaknesses, like I am not an organized person. I tend to forget things, so that is why I always carry a diary and a pen, so that whatever whatever is said to me, or if I feel that something is important, I write it down, I note it down, so that even if I forget it later on, so that I can look into my diary, and that is going to help me. So this is something you are telling a problem. This is a type of answer you are telling your problem, कि मेरा ये प्रॉब्लम है कि मैं भूलती रहती हूँ चीज़ें, बट एट द सेम टाइम यू आर ऑल्सो प्रोवाइडिंग द सोल्यूशन. तुम कैसे वो जो तुम भूलते रहते हो, तुम उसको ठीक कैसे करते हो. तो खाली अगर बोलोगे कि मैं सिर्फ भूलती रहती हूँ, आई टेंड टू फॉरगेट थिंग्स, तो ये तो बड़ा एक मतलब दिस विल बी अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, इजंट इट. तो वहीं पे स्टॉप नहीं हो सकते हो. यू हैव टू provide a solution as well. So I tend to forget things a lot. So that is why I maintain a diary. So that is why I carry a diary and a pen with me, and I write down the important things, so that later on I can look into the diary. And it is kind of very helpful. सो डायरी मैं भूलती रहती हूँ, तो इसलिए मैं एक डायरी कैरी करती हूँ, और इसीलिए क्या होता है, इट हेल्प्स मी. मैं नोट डाउन कर लेती हूँ, कुछ भी इंपॉर्टेंट काम दिया जाता है मुझे, कुछ भी इंपॉर्टेंट होता है तो मैं नोट डाउन कर लेती हूँ, ताकि बाद में मैं उसे फिर से देख सकूँ. ठीक है. और देखने के बाद तो याद आ ही जाएगा, है कि नहीं. सो दिस इज वन काइंड ऑफ आंसर जहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम भी बता रहे हो, सोल्यूशन भी दे रहे हो. तो this particular question should be answered in this way. All right. Next, another very common question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? So you have to tell about your goals. Now, you can have certain short-term goals. Do not write your attendance in the chat box. I have not yet called your roll numbers. I will definitely be taking your attendance, but after some time. I will not be checking the chat box today. All right. Because I have witnessed that most of the students, like 10 to 15 students, they leave the class after the attendance is taken. So that is why I want you all not to write down your roll numbers in the chat box. I will call your roll numbers after some time. Okay. First of all, I'll be explaining these questions. Okay, so this is a question where the interviewer wants to know about your goals. Okay, the interviewer actually wants to see whether you have set some kind of realistic expectations for your career or not. So basically they want to know about your career goals. So you uh, can just avoid telling about your personal goals. Yes, we have goals related to our career, related to our personal life, but in an interview you are supposed to tell about your career oriented goals. Basically you are supposed to specifically talk about your career oriented goals. All right, so they want to actually listen to these kind of goals. Now goal, what is a goal? Aim. We, all of us, we have some or the other aim, some or the other dream or desire, isn't it? So that particular desire or dream is the goal. Now goals can be short term, it can be of long term. Now long term goals are related to the dreams that you want to fulfill in 5 years, in 7 years, in 10 years. Short term goals are basically related to the everyday things that we want to do. For example, you want to score good in your sessional exam. That is a short term goal. Why? Because in few days you will be having your sessional exam. So that is why that is why it is considered as a short term goal. All right, because you will be having your exams in few days. Okay, you don't have much time for the exam. You want to do a job in this particular organization. That's a long term goal. Why that's a long term goal? Because you're in the first sem now, you're in the first semester now, so that is why it's a long term goal now. So we human beings, each and every of us has some or the other kind of goals. It may be related to our career, it may be related to our personal life. But when you are asked when this question is asked in an interview, you're supposed to talk about your real career oriented goals, and you must tell something that sounds realistic. It should not sound like a story. It should not sound like something that cannot be accomplished. So that is why you must set realistic expectations. And it's a suggestion as well, not only for the interview, but it's a suggestion as well. So you must have goals in your lives, certain short term goals and certain long term goals. In that way you will be able to push yourself, and you'll be able to determine, you'll be able to find out your path. Okay, you'll be able to find your direction. If you have a goal, then it's easier to know, find out the path. You will move ahead on that, on that particular path and towards that goal. If you do not have any kind of goal, then definitely you will be confused. When this question is asked, so do not say stuff like, do not say, stuff like, I want to be, I want to own a company or something like that. Do not say these kind of stuff. So when this question is asked to you, so basically, when will you be facing an interview? In the last year, isn't it? In the last year you will be facing interviews, will be sitting for interviews. So then you cannot say that five I see myself doing a job in this particular company. You cannot say that because you're already there. Now you can of course say that what is your, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I want to do a job, I want to see myself in that organization, I want to work for that organization. So definitely now it's kind of it's, you can say that answer. But After 4 years, after 3 years, or after 4 years, you will not be able to say that. You will have to say something else. So you can say that, for example, you can say, I want to complete my internal training program for my position. uh, I have read it on your website, and I think that it's a fabulous program, and I would definitely like to complete the training program. And then uh, not only I would get all the training for my role, but I would be on I would be a person who would be learning it very quickly, and I would definitely like to become, whatever you want to become, you can say accordingly. Okay, suppose the manager or something like that, because and it's according to you. So as I had said, that you have to set your own goals, so you can be very honest regarding this answer. So that's why, think about think about it today itself. Set your goals today itself, so that you have a direction, so that you can follow that way. So whatever you want to become, you can say that, and then you can answer to this question in this way. Okay, so this is how you should answer. You should talk about your career oriented goal, and mainly you should have a goal. You just cannot say that, you cannot just, you'll get hundreds of answers on Google, on the internet, but you cannot just pick up one. For this answer, you have to be truthful. For that, you have to set your own goals. What do you want to become? What do you want to become? That's the main question, and accordingly, you can answer to this question. All right. Next is, how do you deal with pressure or stressful situations? So this is another common question that is asked during an interview. How do you handle stressful situations? How do you, deal with pressure? So again, they want to know whether you can handle stressful situations or not. Because when you start to work somewhere, there will be times when you will be, very stressed. So in this case, what you can do is, you can tell a story related to something that you had experienced earlier. Now, this story has to be carved beforehand, because if you get this question, you cannot just at that moment, you cannot carve a story, you cannot form a story. It'll take some time, isn't it? For this question, you have to definitely carve a story, you have to definitely create a story. And even and also you can share some kind of real life experiences as well, if you have any. But if not, then you have to definitely create a story that you had gone through this situation, and that is why you are a stronger person now, and that is why you can handle this kind of situations. And earlier also, you had handled this kind of situations. For example, suppose mm you were the leader of a project at your college, and there were 10 members in the group, and then two of the members, they fall sick. They were quite sick, and you had to submit the project, and they had their own set of work. But because they were very sick, they were not being able to do that particular they were not being able to do that work, because they were sick. So how did you handle that situation? How did you complete your task? So you can form these kind of stories. Okay, another very common question is, what is your salary requirements or salary expectations? So being a fresher, when you gain experience, then it's, of course, you can demand the salary. But until and unless you do not gain any kind of experience, you are not supposed to demand any kind of salary. Okay, you are supposed to say, as per the company norms. Okay, the best answer to this question, as a fresher, you are supposed to say it as per the company norms. And even after this, if they tell you that, if I provide you like 5,000 rupees, are you okay with that? Are you okay with it? Then you need to just say yes. You have to say yes. You should not argue in an interview. Okay, later on, when you'll gain experience, you can definitely negotiate your salary, but as a fresher, you cannot negotiate your salary. So during interview, if you are said that like I'll pay you only 5,000 a month, then you have to say a yes. Later on, when you get the appointment, when you get the appointment letter and you actually see that 5,000 is your salary, then you can definitely reject it. And it's totally up to you whether you want to accept it or you want to reject it. That's totally up to you. But in an interview, you're not supposed to say a no. You always have an option later on. You can select or you can reject. But because you have agreed to 5,000, that doesn't mean that they will pay you 5,000. There's always a pay scale for every category, for every position, for everyone. There's a category. So if in your position and if in your position others are getting suppose 20K a month, you will also be paid the same. You cannot be a one person who will be paid 5,000. It's just to check whether you agree with them or not, or whether you argue. Okay, so that's a trick actually. And later on, if the salary is not as per your expectation, then definitely you can reject the offer. So that's, you always have that particular choice. Okay, so these were some of the questions that are asked during an interview, and there are a few others as well, and definitely I'll be discussing about few more in the next class. And for today, that's all. Thank you. If you have any doubt, you can ask me.